Okay, second half of 7.2, definitions. A ready task. A ready task is if all the tasks that are prerequisites for a task have already been completed, then we call that task ready. In other words, if we take everything off of a graph that's already been scheduled and our task is now a source, then it is considered to be ready. A processor is idle when it's not doing anything. So that's what we talk about, idle time. So the list processing algorithm, I'm going to go through this quickly because we'll have examples where we'll refer back to what this says. The lowest number idle process is assigned to the highest priority ready task until either all the processors are assigned or all the ready tasks have been assigned. So, lowest number idle processor, highest priority ready task. So when it completes a task, you're going to do one of three things. If there are more ready tasks, then you're going to repeat the same thing that you just did. If you don't have any ready tasks, but not everything has been done, then your processor is going to remain idle until you have more things that can be done, more tasks that are ready. If a task has been completed, if all the tasks have been completed, then you've finished the project and you're at the end. So we're going to apply the algorithm here, and we have two processors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my Gantt chart over here. Processor 1 and processor 2. Then I'm going to keep myself a list of ready tasks. So I want to know, what is ready at the beginning? Well, the only thing that can be ready at the beginning is a source, and our source is T1. Well, where do we put T1? We put T1, which is the highest priority ready task, in the lowest numbered processor. So we put it in P1. So we write T1 in P1, has a length of 5, so it goes from 0 to 5. So that's off the priority list. Now we don't have anything else that's ready at 0. So the next time something will be ready is at this 5-minute time slot. So we have to figure out what happens at 5. Well, what happens at 5 is T1 is finished. So T1 has been finished. So if we look at this, our new sources are T2 and T3. So T2 and T3 are our ready tasks. So T2 and T3. So our rule says to take the highest priority ready task. T2, T3. If we look at the list, T2 is the highest priority, and put it on the lowest numbered processor. So T2 goes on processor 1. T2 has a list of 15, so 5 has a length of 15, so 5 plus 15 takes us to 20. Alright. Also ready at 5-minute time slot is T3. Well, we have another processor, and that processor can schedule something at 5 because it's idle. So we're going to put T3 on processor 2 at a 5-minute time slot. So T3 has a length of 20, so it goes out to 25. Now we look, We have a 20-minute time slot open and a 25-minute time slot open. Well, what we want to do is schedule things as soon as possible, so we're going to look at what happens at that 20-minute time slot. Well, at that 20-minute time slot, T1 and T2 have been completed. So T1 is finished, T2 is finished. So if we look at who is ready at that 20-minute time slot, who are our sources now? That would be T5 and T3. But I want to point out T3 has already been scheduled, so we don't need that T3. So the only person that's ready for that 20-minute time slot is T5. Since we don't have a choice, we'll just go ahead and schedule T5 regardless of where it is in the priority list. T5 has a length of 10 minutes, so that takes us from 20 to 30. Now the next time slot is at 25 minutes. At 25 minutes, T1, T2, and T3 are finished. So we're going to get rid of T3. So our tasks that are ready are T4, T5, and T6. Now notice T5 is already up there, so all we're concerned with is T4 and T6. Since we have a choice for that 25-minute time slot, we want the highest priority task. Highest priority task is T6 on the lowest numbered processor where we have a 25-minute time slot, which is P2. So T6, 25 minutes, so that takes us out to 50. Now I don't have another 25-minute time slot, so I'm going to keep on going. So now I'm looking at what is ready at 30 minutes. Well, at 30 minutes, 1, 2, 3, and 5 are finished. So T4 and T6 are ready. T6 is already scheduled, so the only thing that is ready for that 30-minute time slot is T4. T4 is 35 minutes, so that takes us out to 65. Now we have a 50-minute time slot, so we're going to look at the 50-minute time slot. So 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 are finished. So all that gives us is T4 is ready. Well, T4 is already on the schedule, so nothing's ready at that 50-minute time slot. So 65-minute time slot, T4 is now complete. That makes T7 ready. On the lowest numbered processor, we place T7. T7 has a length of 30. That takes us out to 95 minutes. Alright, 3 processors this time. Alright, we start out at time equals 0. The only ready task we have is T1. So we schedule T1 on the lowest numbered processor. No one else is ready at 0, so we continue on. The next time slot that we have is a 5-minute time slot. So at the 5-minute time slot, T1 is complete. So that makes T2 and T3 ready. Since you have a choice, you look at your priority list. Our highest priority is T2. So we put T2 in P1, which is our lowest number processor. And then we put T3 in processor 2. So T2 has 15 minutes, so that takes us out to 20. T3 is 20 minutes, so that takes us out to 25. So what we have is a time slot opening at 20. So at 20, T1 and T2 are complete. So that makes T5, and we've already scheduled T3 as our ready task. So T5 is going to go on that 20-minute time slot. T5 has 10 minutes, so that takes you out to 30. Now we have a 25-minute time slot. At the 25-minute time slot, T1, T2, and T3 have been completed. That gives us 2 new ready tasks, which are T4 and T6. When you have a choice, you always go to your priority list. So back to the priority list, T4 and T6. T6 comes before T4, so we're going to put T6 in the lowest numbered processor that has a 25-minute slot. So T6, and that means that T4 is going to go in the next processor with the 25-minute time slot. So T6 is 25 minutes, so that takes us out to 50. T4 is 35 minutes, so that's going to take us out to 60. So now I have a 30-minute time slot. At 30, 1, 2, 3, and 5 are complete. That leaves us with 4 and 6 is ready, but they've already been scheduled. So none at 30. How about at 50? At 50, now T6 is complete. That makes our only ready task is T4. T4's already been scheduled. Well, how about at the 60-minute time slot? Now T4 has been complete. Now T7 is ready. Now the tricky thing here is we're not going to put it on processor 3. Remember, the highest priority ready task needs to go on the lowest numbered idle processor. So here is where T7 goes, from 60 to 90. So we were idle from 30 to 60, and then you pick up and you do the T7. The highest priority ready task on the lowest numbered processor. So that's why we jump back up to the top. Alright, decreasing time priority list. 2 processors. So at 0, T1 is ready. So we don't have anything else for 0. So at 5 minutes, T1 is complete. That makes T2 and T3 ready. So at the 5-minute time slot, 2 or 3. 3 is the highest priority, so we put T3 up top and T2 in the bottom. So T3 has a length of 20, so that takes us out to 25. T2 has a length of 15, so that takes us out to 20. So now we have a 20-minute time slot. 20-minute time slot, 1 and 2 are complete. That gives us ready tasks of T5 and T3. T3 is already scheduled, so we're going to schedule T5. T5 has a length of 10, so that goes from 20 to 30. Then at the 25-minute time slot, T1, T2, and T3 are complete. So that gives us 2 new ready tasks. T4 and T6 are both ready. So when you have a choice, you look at your priority list, and that tells you who to schedule. T4 is the highest priority. So T4 is scheduled in the 25-minute time slot. T4 has a length of 35, so that takes us out to 60. We don't have another 25-minute time slot, so let's move on to the 30-minute time slot. At the 30-minute time slot, 1, 2, 3, and 5 are complete. So our ready tasks are still 4 and 6. 4 has already been scheduled, so that means that T6 will go in that 30-minute time slot. T6 is 25 minutes long, so that takes us out to the 55-minute time slot. So we check at 55. T1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 are finished. Still don't have a ready task because T4 has already been scheduled. And then at 60-minute time slot, T4 is now complete, which makes T7 ready. Gives you a length of 90 as completion time. Alright, if you have 3 processors, which task will be assigned first? Well, looking at our ready task, we have T1, T4, T6, T8. Now look at our chart. If you follow along, the first one I get to is T4. T4 has higher priority than any of the others, so T4 will be scheduled first. Optimum schedule is the best result possible. So we actually have 2 answers for optimal schedule. If your completion time of the entire project is equal to, or the finishing time of the entire project is equal to the critical time, then you know for certain that you have an optimal schedule. However, if your completion time or finishing time of the entire project is greater than the critical time, it may be optimal for the number of processors that you're using. You're not sure if it is or not because you won't know unless you try every possibility. Now there's one thing that's going to help you check your work. If your completion time is less than your critical time, you've made a mistake somewhere. Your completion time will never be less than the critical time. Because remember, critical time is the shortest possible completion time.